Coca-Cola's first drop on Veve is happening tomorrow, and many of us are excited about this new partnership. But what should you be paying attention to when it comes to the market? Should you be picking them up or hold off a little bit? Well, today, it's exactly what we're going to be talking about. Welcome in everyone, my name is Andy, and I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to come and watch this video on the channel. Just before we get started, if you are enjoying this content, you want to see this journey where we learn about NFTs, crypto, and the finance space, then I'd love for you to follow along by subscribing. This is the sort of second part in this series. It seemed to get really good feedback from the Deadpool drop, and I know this is coming in a little bit late, but I'm trying to think of a name for the series. So if there's something that you come up with where we talk about my market strategy, a little bit of background of the drops that are happening, then please let me know, as I'd love to make this into something where we can make a playlist out of it and people can really learn as I learn. So we have Coca-Cola dropping today. One of the biggest brands in the world is dropping on Veve, and this is extremely exciting. Now, Coca-Cola started in 1886 and has quickly grown to be probably one of the biggest companies in the world. Owns hundreds of different brands like Dasani, Fanta, Sprite, and so much more that a lot of people don't actually know about, and has a lot going for it, even continuing to this day with so much following behind it and basically everybody knowing what Coca-Cola really is. Coca-Cola is in the top 100 companies with a valuation of around $87.6 billion. Now, that could fluctuate depending on what you're looking at, but even those types of numbers are just insane. Coca-Cola's own website, we can see that over 1.9 billion servings of their drink happen every day in over 200 countries around the world. This is one of the most well-known brands, and although there's some other brands that will be a lot bigger than them, Coca-Cola in itself and what it owns, just an absolute monster. Fair enough, everyone knows what Coca-Cola is, or has at least had something from this company in their lifetime. We can see from this small graph here of some of the companies that Coca-Cola do own themselves, and you're probably able to recognize some of them even from the picture we've got just now. So what about the drop and what we're going to be getting today? Well, this is the snowglobes, and this is what we're going to be seeing about the history of it. And it's 700,000 individual employees with over 225 bottling partners to help deliver the refreshments around the globe. And the snowglobes have actually been announced that they're going to be animated, so I believe the snow will fall within the globe. I'm not sure if they're going to add anything else to it. We have the polar bear first. They're all dropping at 4 p.m. today, and they all cost $29 in blind box format. We have 13,888 editions. We have 10,888 for the cola bottles. We have 7,888 for the neon Coca-Cola sign. And finally, for the Coke bottle itself with the secret rare, we have 1886, which was the year that it was founded. You will take notice that it does say first edition here and not first appearance. And this is because Coca-Cola have dropped their own NFT back in August, where they auctioned off this, which had a variety of things inside the own NFT, which you could get. Now, the interesting thing with this is that the Coca-Cola that was auctioned off with this NFT, that was its first appearance, if you will, on the blockchain, was a 1-for-1. It wasn't as if thousands of people could actually get a hold of these, and you will be amazed to see that it sold for 217 ETH, which at the time was around $575,000. These were the things you got inside of it. Only one person owns this, so it's not as if thousands of people can own and share the Coca-Cola family brand that it is made to be. The things inside were the Coca-Cola bubble jacket, the Coca-Cola friendship card, the sound visualizer, vintage cooler, Coca-Cola cooler, and more. So this one person has got all of this by paying $575,000. And although we don't have the first edition of the Coca-Cola brand itself in NFT format, this is going to be the first time where thousands of people are going to be able to uniquely own the Coca-Cola brand in the NFT format. So yes, we don't have the first appearance of Coca-Cola, but in my eyes, when it comes to something that's just a one-to-one, it doesn't provide the same community feel as it does when thousands of people can own them individually. The Coca-Cola brand in itself is a really interesting one on how it became to be. Even being one of the big players in the beginning of the 6-pack of drinks, the coolers that you use for your drinks, as well as even coupon codes when it comes to buying Coca-Cola brands. What about these ones then that we are getting today? What should we be paying attention to and what we should be looking at? Before I actually get into it, I'm going to try to compare a little bit of Coca-Cola as a brand as a whole, something else that's recently dropped on OpenSea. This was the Adidas Originals drop on the metaverse. If you've been paying attention to the OpenSea space as of recently, you would see that Nike has acquired RTFKT, as well as Adidas partnering with things like Pixel Vault and the Bored Ape Yacht Club. This also shows that Adidas have released their own original metaverse when it comes to this, and this had 30,000 editions and was sold out just like Veve in less than a second. There were some issues behind it where some people were able to mint hundreds at a time, but there is still a lot of unique owners when it comes to this. And from the prices with what we look at, we can see that they're sitting at 0.85 right now with 19.2k owners. This is something along the lines of what you would see when it comes to Veve in itself, that sort of data. Some people are getting 2, some people get 1, people with maybe 2 or 3 phones or their whole family doing it. Maybe that's the sort of unique ownership when we take it on that sense. With a 0.86 now floor price, that is pretty incredible for what they've been able to do. There are probably a lot of other things that they're going to be releasing. I believe you're also going to be getting whitelisted when it comes to Adidas trainers and all that stuff next year. There's some special things we'll get with this. So I completely understand why it's going for this price, which sits at around $3,400 for one of these as of right now. But I want this to be an understanding of what things can go for outside of Veve and be a company you could align when it comes to Coca-Cola and how significant they truly are. If each one of these are selling for $3,400 minimum right now, then I could easily see these Coca-Cola ones being something very sought after, especially as Veve gets more traction, and even things in the future with utility where you might get a free Coca-Cola can if you purchase this NFT. Again, this Adidas NFT has quite a lot of utility when it comes to it, and that's what a lot of people have after. But I wanted to compare just to show you an understanding of what other things could potentially sell for and are selling for currently when it comes to big brands. Let's go back to the NFT drop that we're going to be getting. Now, the polar bear is first here with 13,888 editions. But what's interesting is the polar bear has actually only been around since about the 90s. And it started quite late on, but has been depicted as sort of go-to when it comes to Christmas, as the polar bear has now been introduced more. We can see from the history here that it started in around 1993, usually around the Christmas time, but it's advertised drinking Coca-Cola and a lot of people knowing the bear for what it is. And what's also interesting is a little bit of a background information, is that Coca-Cola was actually one of the people responsible for Santa being depicted the way he is right now. The red and white colours were actually started in the advertisements that Coca-Cola used to do, and people started to depict Santa Claus or Saint Nick as the red and white figure that we see today. Coca-Cola's brand was so powerful that they were able to shift that narrative and sort of make Santa what Santa is today. And when someone would maybe ask, what have you seen Santa drink in adverts? One of the most common answers you're most likely going to get is Coca-Cola, especially from the advertising side of things. Okay, so we know that the polar bear is popular, Coca-Cola is popular, the Adidas stuff is going for minimum $3,400. What are we thinking about this drop? Well, personally for me, the two that I'm going to be focusing on are the polar bear here as the common and the rare with the Coca-Cola sign. Now, the reason for the common in general is because although we've not had the first appearance of Coca-Cola in itself, this is the first appearance of the polar bear in NFT format. Veve have always been quite smart when it comes to the commons, making those the ones that are more sought after. And they're definitely right when it comes to this. We have the bear drinking the Coca-Cola, we have the Christmas trees in the background, and the 3 Coca-Cola bottles in front of them. This is something that's quite significant for me in itself, and I think a lot of others as well when it comes to the advertisements that we've grown up with before coming into the digital world. It's actually interesting seeing here that the first print advertisement of the polar bear was in 1922, but of course we didn't have the same advertisements when it comes to TV back then, so it was more showed after that. But it is iconic in this whole scene of Coca-Cola and what we have, and being the common is something that I'm going to be looking at for sure. It's not to say that the Coke bottles are anything bad and that they're not something that you should be going after, but personally within the one-to-one NFT, it's obviously the cooler, so it's related more to them, and we've seen those already in that instance. But when we come to the Coca-Cola sign as well, the Coca-Cola font itself is trademarked, meaning no other company can actually use the font that Coca-Cola uses for its brand, meaning having this for the first time as a signpost and also a neon signpost, something that I'm sure a lot of people are going to want. And with 7,880 editions, it does get a lot lower when it comes to this. Again, I'm not saying that the secret rare with 1,886 editions is bad. It has the Coke bottle just as one, it's the secret rare. It's something that a lot of people want. But for me personally, when it comes to the mass buying side of things, or what I'm looking at more, it's going to be the rare and the common. I will be trying to get all of these. I just don't think I'll have the gems for all of them to get, and that's why I'm going to be focusing on some rather than others. We have around 34,000 editions out of all of this, so it's a little bit more than the comics we've been getting as of recently, and that's definitely something to pay attention to. Strike out in the comics if you've been getting a lot of them. Maybe you've got a good chance with this. It's in blind box format as well. Remember, you're going to be using the space gate for this. You're going in between the notify me bit and the text, and that's where you're going to be clicking because that's where the buy now is going to come up. What about price analysis then? What do I think when it comes to the prices in itself and what they're going to go for? Now, this is potentially one of the hardest ones that I've tried to guess because everything else can be related to other superheroes that have been on the platform. But we've not had anything like Coca-Cola yet, which I find is going to be extremely interesting to see what these prices go for. Now, for the common itself, we have 13,888 editions, and I could personally see this going for around 150 to 200 after it stabilizes itself once people have bought in. Coca-Cola is a really big brand, and a lot of people do understand what it is. And yes, it may not be the first appearance, but the first appearance on Veve in itself, also with the polar bear, the neon sign, and more, is something that's going to allow more communities to get involved and people to have unique ownership when it comes to this. I think the common could honestly go to something between 400 and 500 in the next coming months, if I'm right in saying how popular Coca-Cola is as a brand. When it comes to the rare itself, we only have 7,888. Maybe that could be something that's upwards of 600, 700, or maybe we even see again polar bear overtakes the uncommon and the rare when it comes to this. We've already saw Deadpool's common do this already, and that's only been out for a day, and a lot of the rest of the commons have overtaken the uncommon and rare, potentially because the polar bear is so popular. We might see it on this instance as well, but it will be interesting to see. Again, I find it really hard to try to gauge this price, but I'm trying to go based off of the popularity of Coca-Cola, the first appearance of this, and the unique holders that are going to be able to get this in relation to other big brands. So I could see this common easily surpassing them, sitting at around the 500 to 600 mark in a month or so, potentially being a bit lower than that. I honestly might be wrong, and it might be a lot higher than this if people are really after these Coca-Cola drops. The secret rare itself, again, is going to be a little bit harder to guess because there's only 1886, but still is pretty high when it comes to the secret rares. I'm going to say it's going to sit around the 2k mark and maybe slowly gradually rise after that general foundation has been found. Again, we have a lot of announcements that are going to be coming over the next few weeks. People potentially getting MTL. We heard that there's another form of drop coming, maybe when it comes to something like music or sport in the next coming weeks as well. So there might be a massive drop off for now and then a massive spike after the 12 days or after these announcements have been made to rise these up significantly further than they're at right now. I think Deadpool is going to do the same after the 12 days is up, and we've had all the announcements that have happened for this period of time, but who knows, it could go anywhere. So for me personally, I'm going to be focusing on the common and the rare in order to get those. If I can somehow manage to pick up the secret rare, I definitely will, as it's a set I definitely want. Looking to buy the common as much as I possibly can, with the polar bear, the animation, and more. As I've said, I think the polar bear at the beginning may go down to around 150 to 200 gems and then slowly rising after that, or potentially even taking a massive jump if there's a lot of people who are really after this. Coca-Cola is a very big brand, and I could see a lot of people wanting this in their vault, and to have a part of your vault as big as Coca-Cola is truly significant. But what do you think about this analysis? Do you think I'm wrong and I'm way off? It will be a lot higher or a lot lower? Let me know down in the comments below. I know the video on the screen right now will be something you'll love to watch. Have a fantastic day.